Hello and welcome back to our video series on setting up our advanced volume trading charts. And we just finished up trading our normal chart that we're going to be looking at for making our trading decisions. And so the next chart is going to be completely different. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this chart, and I'm going to select File, New, Chart Window again. And I'm going to use the same settings that we had before, so it's still going to be a 2-point chart. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And this is why we were having this set up before. This is actually what I'm going to be using in this chart, except I'm going to Format Instrument, and in Settings, instead of Style, I'm actually going to select Line on Close. Okay, so you may have seen this type of chart before, this format before in maybe other magazines or something like that. This is called line on close. So I'm not going to show you any kind of the bar that was in it, and we've got this really compressed. So you can see I've got this data really compressed. I can maybe do it a little bit more, but that's almost too much. We're getting too many days in there. You'll see what I'm up to in just a moment. And now I'm going to add a new chart, a new indicator to it. And really it's just a special, this one is just a specialized version of the pivot, floor pivots, and this is called big picture bias. Okay, so I'm going to insert that one. We do need to get market open time, and then I'm going to select OK, and you'll see what's going on in here in just a minute. So as you can see, I need to change the scaling as well. So Format Instrument, because I don't want it to to expand to indicators. Okay, that's much better. So as you can see, it does a couple of things. One, it doesn't plot all the midpoints, right? So that would make it kind of more difficult to see. So we're just taking a big picture of price action to the major support lines, and here comes a little bit more of the big picture. We're going to go back to it and add the same indicator that we have, the AVT daily bias, to this picture as well, and you'll see what I was kind of talking about on a kind of a big picture basis of how the market trades relative to the daily bias. So and this is, I haven't even seen this for today on the big picture basis. So as you can see, in general terms, right, in general terms, if the price action is underneath the daily bias, as you can see, the vast majority of the price action has been to the downside. And as I was kind of mentioning in the other video, it doesn't mean that they're going to not make reversals back up to the daily bias and then maybe back beyond. But this gives us some more information as sort of what we should be looking for in the directionality of the trade. Now, I'm not sure we'll be able to see it here too many times, but sometimes it even makes more sense of what they're doing by having the daily bias on our trading chart to see what's going on. Like for instance here, they actually broke back down underneath R1, right? But got pretty close to the dead trading bias before they took it back up, right? They teased it again, but then came back above the trading bias. And here you can see the sometimes there's a confluence of support or resistance as well, right? And those are very strong. Like for instance, this is yesterday's high, and so there's a confluence between the daily bias and yesterday's high. And you see that held very well, and the market came down nicely from there. So this is another tool that we can use. One is it's a fairly good educational tool because you get to see a couple of different things. You get to see how the market behaves around the floor pivot levels and how that relates to the daily bias as well. I mean, for instance, you can see how they come down. When they're even coming down, they touch these floor trader pivots and go the other way. I mean, we see that in the daily 2-point as well, But now we can see the total price reaction as well. So here's R1 and yesterday's high combination. Here's a yesterday's close combination that came back down, right? So you can see these things, and then you can see how, sometimes when the price action is narrow, those are more difficult days to trade. But even at that, you can see that, when we were above the bias point, that was the direction to trade in. So this is another tool to add in your bag of tools, to be able to use the trade the markets. Now there's one other thing that we can add to this, and that's just to let us know kind of where the market is in the day. On mine, I'd go ahead and add the time marker as well, and make sure you change the times to do your, associate with um, your local time. And so, but I just kind of want to see, what's going on as it relates to the time frame that we're trading as well. So, it's easy way, you look for the two that are really close together, and that's going to be the market open, right? The one previous to that is going to be the London Open, and then, then we're going to have the 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and these two are going to be lunch, right? So I always kind of center myself when I'm looking at it is find the two that are close together, right? And in this case, they're really close together, and that's market open, and then you can kind of judge from there in terms of what's going on. So that's a new tool. Now, do I stare at this all day long? Absolutely not. But I do kind of look at it and find it interesting, that we can kind of spot how the markets trade relative to the support and resistance lines, and also the daily bias. So I kind of glance at this, look at it a little bit in the morning, kind of see how the overnight has traded, relative to the daily bias, and then I'm kind of ready to know what I'm going to do, or at least another input into what I'm going to do, by the time the market opens in the U.S. And we'll talk about this each day in the support videos. All right, that's it for this video.